All right, everyone. We start off today talking about some new polling. We had quite a slurry the other day. By the way, happy midsummer. We'll be talking about that, by the way, in today's live stream. Trump has widened his lead, it seems. You've got a consistent slurry of polls over and over again over an expansive period of time, virtually all showing him ahead by at least a point or two in the competitive states. You have new Minnesota polling showing indeed, and it's been aggregated this time, showing indeed a tie between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, which is damning. I mean, Minnesota and Virginia shouldn't be states that you're seeing tied polls in if you expect to win and you're a Democrat. It would be sort of like if there were a tie in Wyoming, something like that. It would be dire. People would be saying, well, Trump has effectively no chance looking at these numbers. In general matchup polling, you also have advantage Trump. In the one-on-one between Trump and Biden, you're getting a lower lead. That is by like a point or something in the aggregate. When you factor in RFK Jr., that lead widens, especially because Jill Stein and Cornel West aren't exactly taking any voters away from from Donald Trump. I would point out one thing. One reason you see a disparity between the lead in the competitive states, the 50-50 some states, and the general election polling, that is Trump leads by more in the swing state polling, is because you got to understand, if you just randomly target individuals across the country, you are going to get more of the urban Dem voters. But a lot of them are clustered in states that, I mean, because we have an electoral system, the popular vote does not matter. So it doesn't matter if you win an excess 5 million votes in California and New York City, if you have also lost those competitive states, which have fewer urban voters in them. Let's look at some of these numbers. As the co-host Kitty slides around on my lap here. General election, Trump v. Biden, that's from Fox News. That shows Biden at +2. If you go to the actual overall general polling, I mean in a two-way race, which you don't have, Trump is still ahead by a half a point. Basically, since that's so close to within the exact 50-50 zone, it's well within the margin of error. And so the polling there has been about even this entire time. There are times, months and months and months ago, where Biden had a lead. There are times where Trump has a lead. He's led consistently by at least a small margin, I think, for 4 months or thereabouts now. It doesn't surprise me, based on the state of the economy and the border, mainly. Arizona, Trump v. Biden. Trump is up by 4. In Georgia, this is Hill and Emerson. In Georgia, up by 4. Again, if it weren't for Maricopa County existing, I would say Arizona would lean heavily favorite Trump. But Maricopa does exist. So again, even though you're drawing even with Georgia or Nevada +3, by the way, I still think Arizona will be difficult. Pennsylvania +2. Yet another poll showing that Biden has to come from behind in a state that he arguably cannot lose while winning the election. Wisconsin +3. I think that might be a bit of an outlier. And in Minnesota, of course, according to the Hill and Emerson, you have a tie. When you bump these swing state polls into the next gear, by the way, and you compensate for the fact that there are technically 3 other people in the race, the numbers get better for Trump in some cases. In Minnesota, he gets a bump to +1. In Arizona, it's still +4. In Georgia, +8. So quite clearly, there's a cohort of voters there, if you're using the same methodology. We've seen this repeatedly, that really just hate Joe Biden. Trump doesn't really lose any support. Biden all of a sudden collapses and people are voting for RFK Jr. In Michigan, +1. That's pretty close. That's for Trump v. Biden, and +2, which is, again, it's within the margin of error when you compensate for the other candidates. Nevada +3. Pennsylvania +3. Wisconsin +2, and in Texas he's +9. Texas is off the table for the Biden campaign. Barring something calamitous happening, Texas will go for Donald Trump. Just like I suspect that Minnesota will go for Joe Biden in the end. The fact, though, that it's competitive, that it's on the table at all, is rather telling. The same is true of Virginia, by the way. Biden is arguably, according to Siena, only up by 8 in the state of New York, by the way, right now, with Trump riding near 40. That's not the numbers that they want to see. By the way, the other day, Klobuchar way out ahead against White and Fraser in the Minnesota race, so she'll win re-election fairly easily. Not saying that I'm happy about that. I'm just saying it. Trump has widened his lead. A few months ago, everything was basically 50-50, and the numbers were pretty wobbly. As we've gotten new polling in, and as we've gotten new economic data, the border crisis continues to be exacerbated, etc., Biden has lost even more support. Keep in mind that part of this is not Donald Trump, the powerful workhorse candidate. It's more Biden, the feeble, weak old man. That's also why third-partyists are doing better this election cycle, at least in polling so far, than they have traditionally and historically. It's because people fucking hate Joe Biden. It's not necessarily out of a love for Trump. The recency bias that admittedly does exist causes them to fear Biden more, because of the economy mainly and the border in the secondary sense. Crime doesn't help. The looming World War III, I'm sure, doesn't help either. But charity starts at home, and really it's the economy, stupid. You've still got rampant inflation, sticky inflation. You still have a lot of people who are taking out debt in order to buy groceries. You've got the student loan grift, which, that's big in the news right now. We'll be talking about that in today's live stream, with one Dem staffer saying, well, thank goodness I got my student loan debt forgiven. Wonderful. That's perfectly fine. I'm glad to have paid for your education. You used it for such a great thing. Swing state polling is widening, as opposed to general election polling. Again, that disparity has to do with the fact that there are genuinely more liberal voters in the country than conservative voters. That is a genuine truth. There are more people that lean left. But it doesn't matter how many people lean left if they're all cloistered in a handful of echo chamber states like California. That's about all. Peace out.